Hi everyone, and welcome back to the London Watch Collector channel. If you just tuned into my channel, I'm a watch collector, a watch enthusiast. Basically, I'm addicted to watches. And on my channel, I'll be sharing my passion for watches using 4K content. I'll be discussing and showing you brilliant timepieces ranging from Seiko to Patek Philippe. So guys, if you enjoy my reviews, please subscribe to my channel, make sure to hit the notification bell and follow me on Instagram. So guys, this week I thought I'm going to discuss a very important topic because lots of you guys keep asking me this question and I always find it difficult to answer. And the question is, what do I prefer, my Patek Philippe Nautilus 5712 or Aquanaut 5164? If you guys know, I wasn't really a fan of an Aquanaut, and I always wanted a Nautilus. The Aquanaut was a watch that if you can't get a Nautilus, then you get an Aquanaut. But that changed completely once I saw the 5164. I'm still not a fan of the 5167. To me, it's too thin, too light, and it just looks odd, especially with the empty space on the dial. The 5164, the more busier dial, the broader case due to the pushers, etc. So I'm still against the 5167, but in love with the 5164. So as I do in all my reviews, we're gonna cover every little aspect of both watches. Starting with the boxes. So the 5712, which was my first Patek, I bought it back in January 2018. And the Aquanaut, I bought it in November 2018. So roughly around 11 months in between them. So to the left is the Aquanaut, to the right is the Nautilus. So you can see that Patek modernized a bit the packaging. They used to be like printed in ink or some kind of a stamp to the right. Now they started having it completely printed. Another thing that's changed is the bubble wrap they've used. So if you open up the box, you realize to the right, it's a normal type of bubble wrap, the ones you get in like Staples or Raymond, any stationery store. To the left, it was more of a sleeve that has bubble wrap to protect the box. So I thought I'd cover that point as well. The outer box is exactly the same print of the movement, the Calatrava cross. Inside the box, they both have the same brown suede microfiber protective cloth protecting the box. So under the box you have this leather pouch which has all your documents. That small little envelope that has the big band, these are the receipts. There's only 3 Patek salons, which is in Paris, Geneva and London. So starting with the Patek Philippe register. So basically you register your watch by filling up all the details, your name, address, how many Patek you own, and you send it using the prepaid envelope via airmail. You can also do it online. That's what I've done. So these two haven't been used because I've registered everything online. But it's a nice touch by Patek to keep it old school, as we say. Next is the collector's library, basically telling you about all the books they sell. You can buy them online from the website. The 5712 being a moon phase, it has a full moon and leap year calendar. Up to 2030. And then you have a small little brochure for the Patek Philippe Museum. Then you have the catalog. So the 5712 having the caliber 240 to the right, and the Aquanaut being the travel time, having the caliber 324. Finally, the certificate of origin, which is the most important, only produced once, can never be produced again. So if you lose it, the only thing you'll be able to have would be an extract from the archive. So make sure you place your certificates in a very safe place, never in the box. In case you misplace the box, you wouldn't misplace the certificate of origin. So both certificate of origins, which look quite similar, the difference would be the reference number. So the Nautilus would be a 5712-1A001. The Aquanaut is a 5164A001. Caliber number, the Nautilus is a 240 PS IRM CLU. The Aquanaut is a 324 SCFUS. They both have 29 joules. They're both made of Acer, which is stainless steel. The bracelet on the Aquanaut is a tropical. On the 5712 is again stainless steel. The final section at the bottom of the certificate would have your name, your address, date of purchase, name of retailer, etc. The boxes have been changed. You can see the color and the finish and the design of the lacquered finish box. So the left being the latest box from Patek Philippe. It's more bright. You can see the marking of the wood a bit more clearer compared to the 5712, which was an earlier version, but nothing too major. Presenting the watches, guys. So let's cover the stuff inside. So you have two tags. One for the Aquanaut, one for the Nautilus, having the reference number, movement number, case number, etc. The Nautilus having the extra links, which I'm going to use to weigh the watches. And they both come with a pen pusher. So looking at both watches next to each other, honestly to me I feel they're the perfect pair. That's the reason I got them. Having them as individual watches without the other does not satisfy that urge you have. But having them next to each other, I believe, just makes a perfect dual. Because one has a travel time, the other has a moon phase, one is on a rubber strap, the other is on stainless steel. Although the Aquanaut is a predecessor of the Nautilus, but Patek was able to do a completely different watch and actually makes the collector want to own both. And that's the reason I pulled the trigger on both. When it comes to the thickness, so the 5712 is 8.52 millimeters. The 5164 is 10.20 millimeters. When it comes to the buckle, I must confess that the Aquanaut is a way more comfortable, way easier deploying type, and I'm quite sure that the latest Nautilus, for example the 5726 in blue, would have the new clasp just like the 5740. So the 5712 has a sub-dial seconds hand, a date as well as a moon phase, and then a power reserve between the 10 and 11 o'clock. It has two pushers, one at 8 o'clock and the other at 4 o'clock, one for the moon phase, the other for the date. It has an integrated bracelet with a polished centerpiece. So looking at the movement, which to me makes the 5712 a special Nautilus. It's the only one that initially had the 240 movement, and then the 5740 followed the steps of the 5712, also having the 240 movement. But just look at that beauty. The micro rotor just ticks all the boxes. The Aquanaut, as I mentioned, 10.5 millimeter thickness, having one pusher at the 4 o'clock for the date. And you have your travel time pushers between the 8 and 10 o'clock on the case, advancing and retracting the time, which is a skeletonized hand that beautifully hides behind the hour hand when not in use. The clasp is of amazing quality and finish, And as you can see, the movement 324 with the 22 karat gold rotor. So discussing the 5712 up close and personal. So it's a date and a moon phase as well as a power reserve, as you can see. When it comes to the history, the Nautilus has an upper hand to the Aquanaut. If you're not aware, the Nautilus was first introduced in 1976. The Aquanaut was in 1997. But the first moon phase we see on the Nautilus was in 2005 on the 3712 for just 1 year. It was discontinued and replaced with the 5712, which has lots of better improvements when it came to the color of the dial, the moon phase, the hour markers on the dial, etc. So the 5712 has a 60 meter waterproofness. The case diameter between the 10 and 4 o'clock is 40 millimeter, but if you're going to take it between the 3 and 9 o'clock, it's actually 43 millimeters. The dial you see is a blue/black, depending on the light. The hour markers are made of gold, filled with luminescent coating. The case is made of steel. It has a screw-down crown, a sapphire crystal at the front and the back, and it has a caliber 240 PS IRM CLU, which is 31 millimeter in diameter. The height of the movement is 3.98 millimeters. The number of parts is 265. The bridges are 11 and the jewels are 29. The power reserve, minimum 38, maximum is 48. Nicely decorated with a 22 karat gold center mini rotor. The vibration it has per hour is 21,600, which is 3 Hertz. And the hallmark is a Patek Philippe seal. It used to be a Geneva seal, but then Patek Philippe decided to do their own seal. Moving on to the Aquanaut. So the 5164 has a date function, a travel time, and then home and local indicating time on the dial. So white showing that it's day, changes to blue once it's dark. The dial you see is a black imposed dial which changes color depending on the light. It can sometimes look as brown, at other times black. The case is made of steel. It has a screw-down crown, a sapphire crystal case back as well as at the front. It's water resistant, double the depth of the 5712, being at 120 meters. The case between the 10 and 4 o'clock is around 41 millimeters. If you want it exactly, it's 40.8. The strap is made out of black polymer material, basically rubber, and it has the Aquanaut fold-over clasp. The Aquanaut was launched in 1997, and it was targeted to the young and modern generation. The case is an octagonal rounded case, which is obviously inspired by the Nautilus, but they were aiming for more of a sportier look. That's why it comes with the tropical strap. Patek claims that the straps they do is ultra resistant to wear, salt water, and UV radiation. The movement is a 324 SCFUS, which is the travel time. It has a dual time display and a date. The diameter of the movement is 31 millimeter. The height is a 4.9 millimeter. The parts are 294 and the joule, similar to that of 5712, is 29 joules. The minimum power reserve is 35 and the maximum is 45. It has a central rotor made out of 21 karat gold and has a unidirectional winding. So it's not bidirectional, they're both actually unidirectional. Looking at differences, so the gold rotor on the 5712 is 22 karat, the one on the Aquanaut is 21 karat. The power reserve on the 5712 is a bit higher, having 3 hours longer, being capped at 48. Moving on to weighing both watches. So the Nautilus with the spare links is 126 grams. The Aquanaut with the strap being cut to fit my wrist is 96 grams. So guys, which should you choose? That's where the real question falls, because it's a very difficult question. You have to consider the history, one being 1976 and the other being 1997. You need to consider the sportier look of the Aquanaut, the very unique design of the Nautilus, which is a porthole of a ship or a yacht. The 5164 is a more complicated movement, having the dual time. To me, that's a very important feature due to traveling a lot. So £4,000 difference between both watches when it comes to retail price. What would I choose? Honestly guys, although I feel that I'd rather get rid of both rather than keep one. But if I had to choose one, it would be the 5712. And it's not because it's more sought after, it's not because of a higher price. Honestly, if they were both the same price, both available, I would choose the 5712 purely for the history of it, the Gerald Genta design, the Gerald Genta DNA that it has. As a watch as a whole, it's a perfect watch. It can be easily dressed with a suit or with shorts. I'm not saying that you can't do that with the Aquanaut, but like I said, I hope I'd never have to get rid of either. If I did, I'd rather get rid of both rather than keep one. Because to me, they're the perfect twins, the perfect duel. What would you guys choose? Let me know in the comments below. I hope you enjoyed this review. That's all for this week. Thank you for watching.